All righty, so let's get this party started now.
Okay.
Okay. So what are we doing here?
Well, I feel like David Letterman. Because my next guest needs no introduction. You don't get that reference, do you?
Yeah, I do. I remember David Letterman.
Okay.
I don't know. Hey, I just spent 20 minutes yelling and screaming in front of iPhones and iPads around my house. So.
Yeah. All right. So hold up the book.
Well, actually, I have to hold up my iPad with the book, as I don't have a copy here at my house, actually. So this is the book. That's the cover of the book.
Okay. Now, is that a new book or a new edition?
It's a completely revised and updated edition of. It was like seven or 8 years ago that I wrote "Liberate Yourself: A Guide to Personal Freedom." And during that time, I've experienced a lot more, and I wanted to take it further. I wanted to expand it, put it in a different context for people, make it easier to read. Like I said, I expanded it. The original book is like 215 pages. This one is like 350 pages. The original book was broken into 2 sections, kind of like mental cultivation, physical cultivation. What I did here was I took what I consider 7 core fundamental principles.
Yeah.
That form the base of it, and then a bunch of sub-principles around those. So again, it's got the original material in it. A lot of it's been rewritten, different stories added, but again, there's chapters that are not in the first book, like Challenge the Status Quo, Damn the Torpedoes, Full Speed Ahead. I just wanted to broaden the scope of the thinking processes, and I also put again, as in the first one, I put a caveat in there about this is the title is How to Think Like Bruce Lee, which I felt was more effective as a title too.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean think the same thoughts as Bruce Lee. So I put a caveat in there that it's got nothing to do with that. It's about just understanding the thinking processes, the mental strategies.
Right.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So the echo is on my side.
Okay.
So I'm going to change this.
Okay.
And see if I can eliminate it. So everybody hang tough. Can you hear me?
What's that?
Okay.
No, now you're messed up on my side.
Yeah.
But give me a second. Let me try something, okay?
Okay. I hope you guys are fun to fart around.
Okay, so I'm going to try something here.
All right.
I love Apple iPhones, but some of the materials, they're built-in obsolescence, where all of a sudden they just change up on you. It's wondrous. So,
all right. Give me one sec.
Okay, so the problem with these new iPhones is they plug in where the outlet plug goes in, which may mean then, you know, my phone goes out.
Okay. Hang on. Okay, what about now?
I'm fine. I don't hear any echo.
Okay. Well, that's good. It's on my end.
Uh-huh.
So we'll make you do most of the talking.
Because everything you say will sound twice, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad that the posts are generating spirited conversation. That's what it's about.
Exactly. That was the whole point of establishing that as a closed group, was to get people to talk. I mean, you know, every time you go on sites, it's somebody posting a video, you know, and often they're bad videos. But, you know, posting a video about this or posting a video about that, a picture of Bruce Lee, you know, doing this or doing that. What I want people to do is to talk about Jeet Kune Do, you know, and that's why I said spirited discussion in this you know, PC world in which half the people live, where nobody's supposed to say something. You know, I've said to you numerous times, I've said when I'm on seminars, I don't ask people to agree with me. I don't ask them to think the way that I do. I just ask them to think. And then we should be able to carry on discussions, spirited discussions with people that agree with us and that disagree with us. And so that was my whole point, was to, yeah, let's generate conversation. Let's generate discussion about some of this stuff.
How do you discipline yourself to disagree with someone and still be able to discuss?
Well, hell, that's stuff you learn in school from kindergarten, or you used to. Again, I don't know nowadays. You know, like I said, it's, oh my gosh, you know, everybody takes offense at everything. And, you know, you state your point of view, they state their point of view, you discuss differences. But the thing is while we're discussing differences, we're looking for commonalities. That's the thing, because that's what we're talking about here is, you know, inclusion is search for where we're on similar wavelengths on certain things, and then examine where we diverge. You know, but I mean, like I said, it's being I go back to what the hell is Bruce talking about? Be willing to honestly express yourself without fear of upsetting somebody or not truly expressing what you really feel for fear of not being accepted or being, for God's sake, excommunicated or whatever. You know? So it's common decency. You should be able to disagree. You know, harmony and discord. We're not a bunch of chiclets, as I said before, all sitting in a box. We don't all think the same thing. We should be willing to discuss that, you know, openly and honestly.
Do you have a theory on when, where, and why opposing ideas about Jeet Kune Do came about?
It's as with anything else. It's a slow, continual evolution. It wasn't one day people were thinking one thing and then one day people were thinking something else. It was a slow, continual process over a long period of time. When I was discussing, you know, the identity crisis that I think Jeet Kune Do is in the midst of, and this decline of what I call JKD culture, or JKD attitude, the culture, the values, the beliefs, the thought process. That occurred over a period of time. It wasn't an overnight thing, So again, in the same way, these people's opinions change, and some are honest, and some are authentic in my eyes.
Where did the inauthenticity come from?
Again, we're back to this idea that, and again, when we're talking here, this is my personal views, my personal opinion, not anybody's agenda. But again, I think there's a huge group of people out there, or whatever, that are boxcarring the name Jeet Kune Do to whatever it is they're doing, because they know that that's a great marketing ploy. The name Bruce Lee is the name Jeet Kune Do. There's a lot of people, and that's what I say, they're not authentic. Authentic is because people have asked me that. I put things on my website, and they're saying, well, you say it's about being authentic. Are you saying other people are not being authentic? And I say, when I say it's about being authentic, it doesn't mean that I'm the only person doing it. It means that we're staying true to what we believe, we're staying true to our philosophy, we're being true to what we do. I feel that there's a lot of various places all around the world now. It's just huge. As I said, they boxcar the name Jeet Kune Do into everything else that they're doing as a sales point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I mean by inauthentic.
Yeah. By the way, in Microsoft Word, it autocorrects productionization
right.
to production ionized.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's why you got to switch it off, It's sort of like, I can correct my own spelling.
Right.
I'm kind of OCD about it.
Yeah. Listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to teaching Jeet Kune Do, individual interpretation is all that any instructor can offer.
Right.
When does that start? I train with you.
Mm-hmm.
You certify me as an instructor.
Right.
Do I now go off working on my likes and dislikes, my research, changing everything you taught me?
No, I think this is something that's been blown out of proportion. I think it's something that people again use to promote their own agenda. Well, I'm just doing that. There are basics in any art that a person needs to learn, and I'm not just talking martial arts. Again, in music and art, there are basics that you learn at the beginning, and again, as you grow, your individual expression come out. We were back to that thing about influence versus imitation, and the idea that my job as somebody passing on the art is to make sure they have that entire foundation,
mm-hmm.
and then if they choose that they don't like a kick, they should still expose their students to an understanding of it, because that student may turn that into an incredible weapon. We're back to that thing, as I said before, where individual interpretation just doesn't mean a bunch of different techniques. Individual interpretation is how one teaches the art, how one passes on the art, how one helps the students grow. It's not just about, I go do my own thing. I think that has been one of the biggest causes of mass confusion in the Jeet Kune Do world today. using Nowhere's way has been taken to do whatever the hell you want.
Right. Right.
And I think that's extremely far from it. I don't think it has anything to do with that. We look at ourselves genetically, our physical positioning, or our age, and things will change from all of that nature. But it's not about 26 people doing 26 different things. There are basic foundations that a person needs to learn. And I think that they can learn that, and then grow. And again, that's one of my things with teaching. I hear so much about, we're doing it that way because it's easier to teach. And then I always go, well, maybe it's just easier for you to teach. Maybe you just don't want to do the work that's required. The fact that somebody starts as a new person in Jeet Kune Do doesn't mean that they cannot start to understand the Jeet Kune Do attitude, the Jeet Kune Do mindset, if you will, from day one of their training. I mean, I know because I'm growing up under Dan, you say, look, you can't go in and give people complete freedom. You can't go and give a 5-year-old complete freedom. Say, good, you're a man of freedom. Do whatever you want. Again, that's been something that's been blown out of proportion. But you can start them on the path of understanding, and that goes back to you can start them developing and understanding what the Jeet Kune Do culture is. Right. From day one of training.
What is your personal approach as an instructor? As in where to start?
Well, again, I have kind of like when I did my JKD pyramid so many years ago. There are foundations. There are building blocks for the pyramid. One's on good positioning, one's mobility skills, one's tools. So, obviously you start developing that because, again, I go back to the idea that, okay, a fight is a conversation between two people. Right? Okay. Well, your tools, your various tools and skills, they are your vocabulary that you use in a conversation. Well, you will only be as good as your vocabulary. So you learn, again, like as you do like children, you learn simple words and then compound words and then how to combine them into sentences. But then you have to go and have a conversation. So, we're back to the thing of they need to develop their use, their tools. And this is where you move, to me, from it's not about teaching or developing tools. It's about cultivating skill sets. A lead straight punch is a tool. The ability to be able to use that lead straight punch at all different ranges against any type of opponent at any time with speed, timing, power. That is a skill. So you move from developing tools to developing skill sets. And that's why we got on that kind of thing about, the teaching method. Yeah. I have to just interject here, and part of it is, a lot of this is myself over the years because I love teaching, so I want to research how to teach and study neuroscience. But at the time that I came up under Dan, he was still a PE teacher as well as teaching Jeet Kune Do. So everything he did, even when he taught from that idea almost like as a PE coach. Well, if this drill doesn't have any reality, if it's not useful, why are we doing it? What does this thing do? And then again, it was how to develop them. Go back to that thing about all the weak sequences and things like that. They didn't exist back then.
Right. Yeah. Here's something else you said. Perhaps one instructor chooses to focus more on the kickboxing element at the start of training Whereas
Whereas another
may put more focus on the understanding of immobilization.
Right.
But isn't kickboxing simpler and easier to understand than immobilization?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I don't believe so. Again, it's how it's brought out. And again, I've said this with relation to Jeet Kune Do classes. When people say, "Well, this doesn't work and that doesn't work," and you say, "Okay, you watch the average Jeet Kune Do class or whatever. They do their warm up. They do this. They spend 50 minutes or 45 minutes on the kickboxing element, and then they spend 5 minutes on the trapping element, and then they say, well, it doesn't really work. Well, what if you reverse that? What if for a period of time you spent that period of time on that, and then, like I said, just switch them around? People have to remember that the first 4 years of Bruce's life, martial art life, he spent in a system which put a high precedence on those elements. And then as his evolution took him on the southern path, right? But he still had those elements firmly embedded in his neuromuscular system. So again, this gets back to the DNA. It's my job is I look at it as a whole. I don't break it down where I don't do teaching where, for the first 3 months I'm going to do kickboxing, and for the next 3 months I'm going to do trapping, and for the next 3 months I'm going to do Filipino weaponry, or some people say we're going to do a week of this, a week of this, a week of that. That's not how I teach. I don't teach that way at all. Because I view it as an entire piece. And again, we're back to the Jeet Kune Do is the whole pie, and these are simply slices of the pie. I might put more emphasis on one thing at one particular time, but again, my goal is to get them to understand it. And that gets back to teaching methods. I don't consider that difficult at all.
What do you think is the source of influence in modern day JKD because of how the martial art industry is doing things?
Well, I think you have two aspects there. Obviously, you've got the MMA industry or art, which has had an effect on it. A lot good, maybe some negative, whatever. But as I said, you have the martial art industry, and it is an industry. It is based on schools, and so much of the martial art industry utilizes the same teaching methods and same teaching protocols or approach to teaching that we do in our school systems, which in so many ways now is showing to be an abject failure in a lot of things. Rote memorization,
right?
The simple regurgitation of material, again, things of that nature, right? That to me, there's so much of that in the martial art industry, because it's all about, nobody must fail. Everybody, we're back to almost like everybody's got to get a trophy just for turning up. And, everybody's got to feel good about themselves. Okay, but sometimes getting good means feeling not so good about yourself. Again, I feel that there's just this, that's why I said this productization.
Yes.
Of it, where it's, okay, memorize this, regurgitate that, memorize this, regurgitate that. Where's the development of the both the curiosity and imagination and the critical thinking skills? You got to go back. You've got to look at even Bruce's notes on his ideas. Jeet Kune Do is a problem-solving art. And if you do not actively engage in the problem-solving process, you will never understand Jeet Kune Do. And you can look at even a comment Dan made in. You remember that Bruce Lee Memorial Edition that came out in 1974 from Black Belt after Bruce passed away, and they had little interviews. They even had interviews with Steve McQueen
Okay.
Total to Dan. And in there, Dan talked about Bruce saying to him at one time, Dan, sometimes you try to teach too much. This isn't kung fu. This isn't karate. The best thing you can do is give your students experiences, make them experience things that they wouldn't normally experience. And then that develops the problem-solving approach. So again, that's teaching method. If you explicitly tell people what you want them to do all the time, then they're going to be a lot less likely to develop those critical thinking skills. See?
So that's the difference between a Jeet Kune Do instructor and a Shotokan karate instructor.
I think I would almost have to say that's an individual thing. And the reason I say that is because, through the years, I've met so many martial arts. There are some phenomenal instructors in traditional martial arts. But it's in their thinking processes and the way they think it out. They take that traditionalism, but they hit it from a different angle. Mm-hmm. And that's what I said. There's a lot of teachers in other systems and other arts that are phenomenal because they've got that, and for want of a better term, almost like a JKD attitude, even though they're staying within their art. And so that's why I said it. To me, it's, look, my job, okay, and this is, we talked about this before, because I said how I refuse, and my students, maybe they like it, maybe they don't like it. I tell them, I'm not going to give you lists. I refuse to give you lists techniques. Other than like the basics in my student have, the tools that they might have, straight punch, because so often, then that's all they ever do.
Right.
So, for example, my way of teaching, like punching, for example, and this goes back to the way in which I was brought up under Daniel. He would show you stuff, and he'd say, these people don't understand. They think I'm teaching. Most people want all of these lists. What I'm trying to get them to understand is the essence of combination punching. So, for example, I'm teaching my students punching. Okay, lead hand table first. This is an example, right? Mm-hmm. So these are the various lines that the lead hand can travel. All right, now use them single. Now you use them in combination. Okay, and combination could be a real hit and a real hit, or then later on it could be a feint and a real hit. Okay, right?
Yeah.
And then same with the rear hand. Okay, so now we're going to develop your abilities to use combinations. So I want you to start with 2 motion combinations using your lead hand. Good. Now I want you to develop 2 motion combinations using your rear hand. Good. Now I want you to develop 2 motion combinations using both hands, A, starting with your lead hand, B, starting with your rear hand, or 3 motions, or, now start adding other things.
Right.
That, to me, is I've got to get my students to think for themselves. Like I said, versus, here's 26 combinations of punches. No, it's not that. You go out there, and yes, it's not the path of least resistance. In fact, maybe it's the path of more resistance. But you know what? The students come out of it at the end, and they can think for themselves. And they can start researching and saying, well, like this lead punch flows organically. This doesn't feel organic or natural at all. Good. Then why would you do it? Gone. Right?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
So I said, this is like how I approach my teaching. You want lists, you write them down. You want to keep your own list, that's fine. That's got nothing to do with me. I applaud you if you do that. But I applaud you if you sit there and you say, okay, so what are the various, 2 motion combinations that I can come up with using my, like I said, my lead and my rear hand. And then Now let's start adding in, bringing in the use of feinting in those combinations. And now all of a sudden, blammo, right? And now let's start bringing in the idea of varying the rhythm of those combinations, and blammo.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're thinking, oh, so I can take a 3-punch combination and I could go hit, 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 or I could go feint, hit, hit, or I could go hit, feint, hit, or I could go feint, feint, hit. That's the kind of thinking processes that I'm trying to develop in students, because that is what we're back to. What do I want? What's my end result? I wanted somebody who's a liberated, creative, free-thinking martial artist who can find stuff out for themselves. You know, and it's kind of like, yeah, teaching the person how to fish.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. You know.
But what if you're only gonna once a year?
I'm sorry, it broke up. If I can only what?
If you're gonna see them once a year.
If I'm going to only see them once a year, you're breaking up. But
okay.
I think that's what you said. What happens if I only see them once a year?
Yeah.
Well, again, you know, the people that I work with, I have an instructor guide, but that's exactly, you know, it's not listed out that. That's exactly the way it's listed out. Your job is to develop their, you know, lead hand combination, rear hand combination. You know, lead to rear hand combination, rear to lead hand combination.
Right.
That's your job. You know, that's your job. And then you figure it out, and then that's your job as a teacher.
So you teach your students the same way you teach your instructors to teach.
Yeah, because teaching is an art. It's a very intuitive art as well. Yeah, and that's what I said. That's my goal for my students. Not everybody's a carbon copy. Everybody has different fortes and things like that. But it's this. If you want people to be able to think that way, then you've got to help them develop the students to think that way. You know, and that's one of my things with all of these pre-formulated sets and crap that I keep seeing around nowadays.
Yeah. So let's pick on David Chang.
We're not going to pick on David. He's a student of mine and he's a good friend. But what about him?
Okay. So he asked about the 1-2 series and the 1-3 series.
Yeah. Everybody's got a name for everything, you know?
Yeah.
What about it?
So his question was, can you explain to me what distinguishes them from a set?
Oh, well, that's why I wrote him back and said, whoa, wait a second. You know, you're asking me this, you think about it, and then you get back to me about it. Pre-formulated, pre-designed sequences. Okay, first of all, what does one mean by the 1-2 series? You know, are you talking about lead straight, rear straight series? You know, 1-3. These are names that, whatever, jab cross series, jab hook series, 1-2. It's a sense of relationship, okay? Now, if, for example, let me give you an example here. Dan used to write on the board. I've seen it several times. He'd take the jab cross, and he'd go, okay, look, here's ways of dealing with it from JKD. Here's ways of dealing with it from Filipino Kali. Here's ways of dealing with it from Muay Thai. Here's ways of dealing with it from Penjab Silat. And you go, okay, so here's 17 ways of dealing with the jab cross. And yet every day people still get knocked out by the jab cross. So what is it? It's not the lack of technology. It's timing, rhythm. So if you are doing things, I break what I teach down into performance development drills and then performance enhancement drills. The two terms that I use. You know, the development is you're developing the skill, that goes back to synchronization of self. Okay, where you're developing the understanding of the motion. Okay, you're hitting the focus glove, whatever. Stage 2, synchronization with the training partner or the opponent. That's where performance drills are coming in. That you're working on maybe it's just one drill, you know, slipping outside the lead straight punch and countering, or what, a snap away, countering. Okay, but you're still in an alive relationship. And that was the thing. You are in a live relationship with another human being, okay? Now, if you were to put all, let's just say, for example, there's 10 counters. Okay, so if you put all 10 counters in this nice, neat little package sequence, and then you just go, here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, you know, yeah, you're doing, for want of a better term, a set, a pre-formulated way. You're not doing that if A, you're working with it, or B, if you're freelance shadowboxing it. So let's look at that idea. You know, in some of these kicking sets that have been popping up later, you know, oh, this is an early one for this, this is an early one for that. Oh, that's great. That's really cool. So you learn, take for want of one of the kicks, it's like a straight kick, right? So you learn it stationary, step and slide, slide step, in a sequence, kick, drop back to the other lead, or cover, other direction, blah, blah, blah. You do a set, right? Mm-hmm. A step. Okay, you train that kick with those various components against equipment with a person. You know, slide step with the front kick. Good, good, good. You learn them. Now, you go out and you shadow box all of that stuff by yourself. So maybe you're facing this direction when you're doing a slide step, and then you pivot the other direction and do a stationary. That's not a set. That's a freelance motion, you know? And that was the idea as I came up. Yeah, here's the kicks. How can you use a kick using all of these types of footwork?
Right.
But guess what? Right. It wasn't put into this nice, neat little package for you. It's do it, man. Go do it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, martial arts is an athletic endeavor. And as such, it follows any other endeavor. Same principles, you know, physiological stuff like that. Okay. Right. Are there steps for baseball?
No.
Are there steps for soccer? Sets for tennis? Right?
Are there sets for boxing?
I would say, you know, again, I would have to relate it back to the teachers, but most times it's freelance shadow boxing. But as I said, the prime difference too with that versus the other way is that boxer has hit equipment. He knows what it feels like. He has a direct relationship. That person who's working those kicks against equipment has that sense of relationship. Good. Now, when they shadow box it, they can shadow box it, but they can repeat within themselves almost that same feeling of relationship. The person who's done it the other way doesn't. They have no relationship, you know? It's like I always say, you ever see the little kids out pretending to play basketball? They don't have a ball, but they're doing all of the moves. But you know that they've actually shot with a real basketball, correct? So now when they're pretending, they know what that actually really feels like.
Yeah.
Well, so what's the difference here? Like I said, you know, are there steps that you learn how to play baseball? No. You go out and you learn skills. Sets for football. When Tim Tackett and I worked with the San Francisco 49ers for their pass rushing, they had very clear guidelines for us. When the ball is snapped, there's 3 seconds until it's gone. How do we get to the quarterback within that time? And then we would watch them train their football players too. And they would do, for want of a better term, drills like we do. They used to call them stunts. But every stunt that they did had an immediate and effective application to the game. Everything was immediate. You know? So again, that's why I said it's like, you know, there's this thing of productionizing everything. Okay, so now we're going to have like you know, the 1-2 series and the 1-3 series and the hook kick series and the side kick series. If you want that, that's fine. That's not me.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And do I believe in it? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. You know?
Where does it come from? Is it the ego thing? I have this inside knowledge of the kicking set that guy doesn't have.
Yeah, personally, my personal opinion, I think that's a huge part of it, because it makes me more authentic than you, because I know that whatever, that kicking set. Like I said, what was his whole mentality? Okay, there's the kicking set. Good, you go through it, you know it's good, now throw it away and freelance it.
Yeah.
You know, here's how you use the Wing Chun dummy. You know, from my perspective, not okay if you want to do that. And again, I'm not going to berate somebody who wants to learn 108 movements. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you take this living, breathing thing, you know, and we cut it down into, now we've got all of these little nice. The Ung-Moon form is one of the biggest pet peeves I ever have in the Jeet Kune Do world, you know, and it's everywhere. You know, you got the Ung-Moon form, and you're like, why? You know, first of all, there's no record of it ever existing. Okay, it was created. But then when you talk to people about it, and every time I see videos, if I ever watch them, it's becoming more and more classical. It used to be just a regular salute and people go in. Now they're opening in like almost like the Wing Chun positioning with their hands, and oh my God, and it's like ooh, you know, I'm just waiting for the little black outfits and the statues.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you talk to people about it and you go, so basically all you've done is you've taken like the simultaneous cover and hit in various lines, and you put it in this really cool form that everybody gets to learn. Now, and why? Well, it makes it easier for me. No, maybe it makes it, again, we're back to, maybe it makes it easier for you. Why don't you just take one at a time or whatever, develop that motion, and then go, have them freelance it, right? And then you get people who take it further, and they say, well, you say the names while you're doing this. So you say, like, Bio sound, Ton sound, right? Hop, hop. So I said to them, so why do you say the names? Or they just, well, you say the names because it helps it sink into their mind. It helps them understand it more. So then they say, so do you say jab, cross, hook, jab, cross, uppercut, hook, kick, back fist? Well, no. Well, why not? It helps it sink in more. Where's the, you know? So, yes, a lot of that, it's one-upmanship. Well, see, we have that, and you don't. And if you don't have that, well, are you really as knowledgeable as you think, or you know, do you really have it?
Yeah.
You know, you want to do it, that's fine. I'm not gonna. I got far better things to do with my time than waste my time doing that. You know, or waste my students' time doing that.
Yeah. It seemed fairly simple to me.
Mm-hmm.
If sets either never existed or did exist and were dropped.
Mm-hmm.
If I go back to them,
mm-hmm.
am I progressive?
Again, I think it's how you're doing it. Like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong, and even as a teacher, in looking at that material from a historical perspective.
Right.
You know? Right. Even if you wanted to just go through it yourself to see it from a historical perspective, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think to demand that your students learn it, you know, like I said, if I have somebody who's an instructor under me, I'm going to share it with them. But to demand that they teach it, Well, we're back to the thing where the red coats and the muskets.
Right.
Right.
Or memorize and regurgitate for promotion to the next belt.
Yeah, well, see, now you're into a completely different. Now you're into belts. Yeah, you're into all that stuff. And
you've seen that, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We're back to the educational system that exists in our schools. It's all about rote memorization, regurgitation of facts. You know, and then when you tell people things like, well, you need to change your teaching methodology because, you know, it's not about facts now. I can Google anything. Knowing when General Cornwallis surrendered at Yorktown or whatever, I can Google that and get the answer in 5 seconds. Understanding how it happened and why he surrendered, that's a totally different thing. That's what you're supposed to be developing with students. So yeah, we're back to this rote memorization, and in order to progress to the next level, you have to do that. But that's also the industry. Like, I don't know if you remember, I'm sure that you do, but you know, when we first opened the Colley Academy and Dan did we're going to set it up like going to college. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. And each year is going to build on the previous year in terms of knowledge. You know, you move from algebra to calculus to trig, whatever, geometry to trig, yada, yada. So the material builds on it. And you're there and you're training, and then Dan walks up to you and in the middle of your training, he puts his hand on your shoulder and says, you know, Dwight, Philly Tuesday, you're in the phase 4 class. Good work. And then he walks away. No big elaborate ceremony, no that, but you felt like 10 feet off the ground because you knew you'd done the work and you had shown the skill, right? That's very different than now we're going to test. To me, that's all martial art industry. Well, we test because that makes the student, it feels important to the student. So you're saying if we don't test that it's any less important? You know? We're back to that mentality that I feel exists in the school. The belt. Well, you know, my son needs a belt. Well, why does he need it? Well, so he knows how far he's come. In relation to what? Well, so he knows how far he has to go. In relation to what? Oh, in relation to this end point. So as soon as he gets there, he's going to quit or whatever. I guess it's how you were raised. I came through martial arts. I came through belt and transfer, and that was part of one of the major attractions to me about Jeet Kune Do. It said, you know what? And you know, I've spoken to Linda about this on numerous occasions too, because people get their own opinion. It's not that it's useless. I will never denigrate somebody who's taken time and earned a belt in anything. It's simply, and like I said, I've spoken to Linda about it, that Bruce considered it a non-essential to overall martial art training. You know?
Right.
Cool. That's it.
Because Bruce Lee and Jeet Kune Do were radicals.
Yeah.
And that is an essential element.
Yeah.
That we are supposed to retain.
Exactly. You know, again, there was a certain irreverence at the Filipino Colley Academy for all of these things that are now coming in. And it wasn't like they were bad, it's just nobody cared about it. You know? As I said, you trained for the love of training. You didn't train in order to get you know, a phase 4 certificate or to get a belt.
Right.
You trained because you love the art. And there was an irreverence there because of everything that was going on at the time. But there was still, again, there was always a sense of respect there. And as we said, respect for each other, respect for, you know, your training partners, respect for Dan, respect for Richard, respect for anybody. But yeah, it challenged the status quo.
That's what I was going to say. Because that's the first thing you said when we started talking.
Yeah. It challenged the existing state of affairs.
Yes.
Yeah. And so challenging the status quo. See, again, that doesn't only relate to out there. Challenging the status quo can relate to your teaching. You know, are you challenging the existing state of affairs in teaching? As I said, whatever the industry says you must do this. So a student must have. Well, you know what? I'm going to challenge that. Why? You know, bang. Where's your proof? Good. I'm going to challenge that.
Here's something else you said. I still prefer to learn tools and freelance. But that is the way I was raised in JKD. Same goes for my Filipino martial arts.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So can we talk Filipino martial arts for a second?
Sure. Sure.
What was the stripping away, or should be the stripping away from the status quo in Filipino martial arts?
Well, again, when I began training, the Filipino martial arts was a small part that Dan would teach at the end of the class. And at that time, he was primarily working with Manolito Cabalas, Manolito Haron, a couple of these other guys, but too many guys. And then shortly, I don't know what you call him, Grandmaster, when he started playing, Ben Lagusa and the Kali Academy, you know, the Kali Association. And what I would see, and I wouldn't see it until I would go and meet these other gentlemen and work with them, with Dan, either assisting him or being there. Then all of a sudden I noticed that, man, everything Dan does comes down, you know? And some of their stuff was really pretty much, like, okay, here's an inside sweep with the stick, inside sweep, check the hand, you know, hit here. So if the guy throws a punch, I'm like, inside parry, and I check the hand, and I hit here. And then I look around and Dan goes, no, he goes, here's the thing, the guy throws a left punch. He goes, the bridging hit. He goes, that's your inside deflection. He goes, the check is followed by, you know, there's another hand that hits, this hits, and then you just go straight left. And they would sometimes be very, very adamant about the footwork, the position of you know, triangular step work, and just stuff like that. And he would he'd go, well, look, if you're in the right lead, it's like doing a right step. So, for want of a better term, I would say he JKD'd.
Yeah.
And then I had to go back later on, for example, and learn some of the more traditional stuff from he showed it from the Villa College system, you know, stick and step and things like that. But he's like, okay, just understand it. But you need to understand what it's for, because that has become very formal. So that's what I mean. It was more from a, okay, here's Dorado, it uses 18 to 24 inch stick, Dorado close, good. And now I've got a larger, which is 32 inches long or whatever. So what are the principles? What are the underlying principles behind each one of these systems or styles?
Yeah.
So now we're about to, if you can capture the essence of that, you can capture the style.
Okay.
So, I said that, you know, and it was mainly the freelance, the Sombrado, which, as everybody's supposed to know, is not a method of fighting. You know, counter to counter.
Right.
It's not a method of fighting. It is a way that you can develop your combative reflex action in a free-flowing, non-structured, like, again, imagine if we made forms out of Sombrado. Oh my God, you could have like 465 of them, you know, it would take 52 years to learn. Yeah, you would have the angle 1 form, the angle 2 form, the Lagamano form.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So let's close this up.
Mm-hmm.
Can you encapsulate for us how these pre-formulated things should be used if you're going to use them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What's their relevance? How should they be used?
Personally, I don't think that they're necessary. Again, I go back to the same thing. It's like, athletic endeavors. You want to learn to play baseball, you play baseball. That doesn't mean a person's going to go out, like I said, and swing a bat and imagine a ball there, but they freelance.
Right.
Imagine if we put all of that into a form. Why? It's not necessary.
What about preservation and history? Preservation and history.
Yeah. From a historical perspective, whatever was there and that was real, you're asking me about things like young moon form and stuff like that. Why? Like I said, if you want to show that, that's your choice. I've got far better things to do with my time.
Yeah.
The JKD kicking set, I learned it. Dan took us through it several times. He goes, good, now get rid of it. But it was just so that we could see it, right? And that was after years of training. That wasn't what we started with. Here's this form. Look at it.
Yeah.
Good. There. Now go freelance. What the hell? And that was exactly. What do you need that for?
Yes. See, what's interesting about that is that in answering David Cheng, you said I showed it to you so you could see how Dan put it together.
Right. Not the kicking set, but like the
dummy
set,
right?
Set. Yeah. I was standing with Dan when he put some of this material together. Now, if you choose to say, and I have to say one thing, I think this is because Dan's humility, one thing, and two, it's also human nature. Is if I say to you, like I said, oh Dwight, here's a kicking step that I came up with and I think really helps. You go, oh yeah, okay, cool, nice. But if I come to and go, Dwight, dude, man, this is a kicking set that Bruce Lee developed to do that. You go, oh, Bruce developed it, right? So it's the same thing. And I think part of that is, like I said, Dan's humility is he'll develop stuff in another, but he will not accept, he'll never turn around and say, I developed that, because that's not his nature. So like I said, I watched him develop some of this material. But even that, it was much more freelance.
Right.
And then it's the same thing. Okay, it goes like this, goes like this, goes like this. Because again, as I notice this is progressing, it's becoming more and more Wing Chun-like. And that's not the way it was. It was sort of like them wanting to just go learn that. So that's what I was talking about. If you want to look at something or things like that, but you have to keep things in proper context. That's and Dan's own analogy about warfare. It's like saying that in order to understand modern day warfare, you got to wear red coats, carry a musket, and only walk a straight line across the field to war. No, you might want to look at that and understand that. Like I said, it's part and parcel of what to me has created this identity crisis. To me, and that's why I put that, when you create all these, when you proliferate all of these sets and preformulated this, man, you're ripping the heart and soul out of Jeet Kune Do, my eyes. Because that thing we were talking about, that irreverence, that freelance capacity, that critical thinking. And we are the people that bring that heart and soul to Jeet Kune Do. Like I said, it's this living, breathing, dynamic art. So it should be taught that way. And when you do that, when you productionize it, to me, in my eyes, and how I wrote it, my opinion, you're lifting the heart and soul right out of Jeet Kune Do.
So that's our responsibility.
Absolutely. And that's, I know I mentioned this to you before, is that, yes, it is up to us. You cannot look at, Linda's a good friend, and we've spoken several times about this, is the fact that the Bruce Lee Foundation has decided that it will not have It's not going to have anything to do with the martial component of Bruce's legacy. It's going to focus on Shannon's focusing on the philosophical side of it, and this, but it's not going to have anything to do with the martial component. And I think that's one, again, people need to understand that Linda's like a queen mother. She's a figurehead. Mm-hmm. She has little to do with it. Maybe advising things. But people need to understand that. And, you know, if it's the perpetuation, yeah, it's our responsibility.
Okay.
That's why I get so adamant about this stuff.
All right. Well.
Tear it out, man. It just becomes mainstream.
Okay.
JTD is going mainstream, man.
Yes. Yeah. So we're gonna have to do this again.
You know me, I can talk the ears off a deaf person.
Okay.
Not being politically incorrect, but
right. We'll fix the technology.
Well, this is it. I just have to use my iPhone now. We go live like this. I turn it sideways, and it works fine. This is cool by me.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So the messing up is on my end somehow. But all right. I will be coming your way in another few months. Then.
Hey, you know where I'm at.
All right. Okay.
Always good chatting with you, Dwight.
Take care, my friend.
Thanks. Right. You too. Bye.
All right. So I have no idea where all that noise came from. So I'm going to check this final, this version. And if it's necessary, what I'll do is I'll cut myself out with all of the echo stuff and what have you, and maybe just do like a big caption of the question that I asked, like a black and white lettering thing of the question that I asked, and just cut myself and the echo out, and then have Sifu Chris do the answering. So many thanks to those of you who stuck in here with us for the whole program. I really appreciate it, and my apologies again for the technological snafu. But like I said, Chris Kent is always worth the wait. So that's let me give you the rundown. Come back in about 5 hours at 6 p.m. and I'm doing, it is number 79 of the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast today, talking about Jeet Kune Do's associated disciplines. Sign up for notifications for when we go live on Facebook, barring technology, and when we post the final edits on Facebook and the YouTube. Feel free to share this, like and comment, ask questions. I'm sure Sifu Chris will go over and he'll probably answer questions if you put something in there. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods. Coming up on Friday, let's see, May 31st, episode number 70 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues, and this will be with Dean Leslie of the Dubuque Martial Arts Group. So that's this Friday. I'm pretty sure it's at 3 p.m. We've got to do it earlier than sometimes. Right, so that's Friday, May 31st, and I'll see you back here later today for the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast, and on Friday for another episode of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. Thanks again for putting up with us. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.